Hi, my name is Alex from Ram and C02, and today we're going to be looking at the four main types of air rifle that are on the market today. So that's your PCPs, your spring guns, your CO2 guns and your gas rams. So getting into it, we'll look at spring guns first. On the table in front of me I've got a Variant 97 underlever, a Variant 95 brake barrel and a Variant 90 which is a gas ram. So to begin with, the spring guns are operated using a spring inside the action here. So as you cock the gun, in the case of an underlever, you've got a lever underneath here. On the 97s you've got a push button, that comes down and you cock all the way down. So basically what that does, it compresses the spring, and then when you fire it uses the force of the spring, obviously coming loose, to fire the pellet downrange. Using a spring gun is fairly easy. Once you get used to it, there's not much to go wrong with them. They're very easy to get along with. The main thing with them is that you can dry fire them, so that means you can't fire them without a pellet in, and especially when the barrel is down or the lever is down, so you can cause catastrophic damage to the stock and the barrel of your gun. So in the same vein, another spring gun here is a Variant 95. Now these cock a little bit differently, but it's pretty much the same action. You're going to give it a tap on the front end, which breaks the barrel, and then all the way down until it cocks. Put your pellet in, back up again, and ready to go. Now, your spring rifles usually appeal to people trying to get, say, rats out of the garden. They've got a little bit of a pest control problem, or they want to just try a little bit of target shooting or an introduction to the sport. They're price-wise, they're usually good entry level. A lot of people like to start on springers because people think it's a good way to start. It teaches you how to handle a gun, how to shoot a gun, and it makes easier shooting with PCPs and CO2s. So the other main type of brake barrel gun is a gas ram. Now they're not quite as popular as the spring guns. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, but they are a little bit smoother. So as an example, I've got here a Variant 90 which has a gas ram instead of a spring. So it works very similar in that you're compressing an item in your action. However, instead of a spring, it's a ram of air basically. So there's not all the rattle of a spring, all the movement of a spring as it unleashes its energy. So people do like them for the smoothness. They do tend to be a little bit heavier, but for people wanting something a bit more tame than a spring gun, possibly it's the route to go really. Again, suits the same sort of parameters in terms of what you'd be looking to use it for and what you'd get out of it. Moving on, we're going to look at CO2 and PCP rifles now. So to begin with, we'll look at CO2. So the main usage for CO2 is back garden shooting, if you've got pests and rats, that kind of thing, on your property. One of the most popular CO2 guns that we do runs on 12 gram CO2 cartridges, which are the small ones, as opposed to the larger 88 grams. It's a Crossman 2250 XL. So super cheap and super reliable little gun. They've been around for a long time. Super easy to use as well. A nice bolt action on the side, so that back, pellet in, forward and fire. Now this one doesn't have CO2 in, but they're super easy to load as well. So you've got a screw on the front. Now this is similar to most CO2 rifles. They'll have a cylinder across the bottom which takes one or two CO2s. In this case it's one, and it's placed in neck first and then tightened up behind. So what happens, there's a little pin inside here which punctures the top of the CO2. So once it's in, you've got to use the gas, otherwise you risk it all leaking out if you try and undo the end cap here without firing it all off. So once it's in, same action again, so it's just up, back and fire, and then you're good to go. Now like I say, they're most suited to sort of garden shooting, dealing with pests, and they come in fairly cheap usually around the 200 to less mark. The other usage of CO2 in air guns at the moment that we see quite a lot of is in little CO2 handguns like this. Now this is a true little back garden shooter, good for knocking over tin cans, having a bit of fun with your family and friends. So again, loads very similar. Nice and cheap too, same sort of idea. You can just have a bit of fun with these ones. So it loads in the back, it's P226. pushes up and punctures. It works on the same principle of it'll puncture the top of the CO2, so you've got to use the gas then before you can discharge the gun off the cartridge. But yeah, super easy to use, super simple, nice little thing for the money. Finally, I'll talk about PCP rifles. Now, these ones are most likely the most popular rifles on the market now, operating on high amounts of breathing air. So, found in bottles and in pumps, they're your main methods for filling them up. Usually they're the easiest to operate, easiest to get along with, and once you've got to grips with, the easiest to get good results with. The one I've got on the table here is a Virak HW100SK. So this is a carbine sport. It's just for example's sake. It's multi-shot. It's got a decent sized reservoir on here, which will give you about 60 shots per fill. Some will do more, some will do less, up to 500, down to 40. It's depending on the gun, really. But yeah, like I was saying, just filled up on the bottles here, which you just pop in the end on most guns and fill up. It takes a couple of minutes with a pump, a couple of seconds with a bottle. Super easy to get along with. These ones tend to be more your target shooters, although there's a lot of hunters use them as well, just for the ease in the field. With guns like this being multi-shot, you can get the second shot off if you need to. Say if you miss a target or if you just don't hit it right. The added benefit of these ones is that they're super quiet as well, because there's no real noise of the action. It's all at the end of the gun, so fitted with a good silencer like these ones, and you won't hear it from more than 10 yards away. They're a super hunting tool, and will offer you anything you might like out of a gun.